Hello everybody. Today we are going to present a folklore of Gujarat. That is, good is good and evil is evil.
There lived a Brahmin in a village who was very poor. He was illiterate too and eked out a living by begging.
Every morning he went from house to house seeking alms and returned home with some flour.
He had a large family to support. One day his wife said to him, "What you get by way of alms is not enough for all of us."
The next morning, Brahman went to the king. He welcomed him. "What shall I give you?" asked the king. "Whatever you please, my majesty," replied the Brahman, and added, "O king, good is good and bad is bad."
The king was pleased and gave him a note which said that each bearer may be given a rupee.
The Brahman presented the note to the cashier who gave him a rupee.
An attendant who pressed the king's legs happened to see the Brahmin come to the king and receive a note from him every day for nothing.
He did not like the Brahmin getting a rupee. When the Brahmin was returning from the king to his home, the attendant instantly stopped him and said, "What about my bakshish?" The Brahmin did not pay heed to him.
The next morning he stopped the Brahmin and said, "The king was annoyed with you yesterday. I thought I should tell you."
The Brahmin became nervous. He said, "I have not given the chance any to the king in order to get displeasure."
The king was telling me that this Brahmin come near me. His mouth is giving out foul smell. I will put a piece of cloth on my mouth and nose when I go near him to bless him.
The next morning, the Brahmin went to the king with a piece of cloth on his nose and mouth and blessed him and left the usual note.
The attendant said, "Your Majesty, the Brahmin who comes to you every morning is arrogant." But king cut him short and said, "He is not. He seems to me a very humble person."
He himself told me that the king's ears were stinking and therefore he had to cover his nose and mouth.
Next morning the Brahmin, and when he was returning with a note from the king, the attendant stopped him and said, "But you did not give me any bakshish." The Brahmin handed him a note to the attendant.
The attendant went to the cashier and presented the note to him. The cashier read it and said, "So please wait here." The cashier went to the barber and said to him, "Cut off the nose and the ears of this attendant."
These are the orders of the king. The king's orders contained in the note were promptly executed. With blood dripping from his nose and ears, the attendant rushed to the king. "How did you receive the note I had given to the Brahmin?" asked the king, being surprised to see blood oozing out from nose and ears.
"Sir, I asked the Brahmin to give me the bakshish. He gave me that note. You lied to the Brahmin. That is the sin that you have committed and you have to pay for it dearly. So, good is good and bad is bad." Thank you.